The Varkthal mothership drifts silently into Earth's orbit, hidden by its advanced cloaking technology. Inside, a group of high-ranking officers gathers around a holographic display, their elongated, silver-skinned faces devoid of emotion. Their leader, Commander Zalrath, gazes at the rotating image of Earth with cold, calculating eyes. The discussion is filled with contempt. Earth, they say, is nothing more than a primitive backwater, a minor challenge on their path to galactic domination. There is an air of arrogance, an unshakable belief in their superiority. Their voices hum with confidence as they finalize their plans for a swift and decisive conquest. The Varkthal are not a species given to empathy or nuance. They are a civilization that has risen on the tenets of logic, efficiency, and military prowess. For centuries, they have built their empire by conquering less developed worlds, assimilating resources, and enslaving populations. Their society is strictly hierarchical, with each caste fulfilling a predefined role. Commanders like Zalrath are bred for strategic brilliance, soldiers for unwavering loyalty, and scientists for the relentless pursuit of technological advancement. They view themselves as the pinnacle of evolution, considering all other species inferior. To them, humanity is merely another stepping stone, a resource to be harvested. With their plans set, they launch a small force of dropships toward Earth, targeting key cities across multiple continents. The invasion begins under the assumption that resistance will be minimal. They expect chaos, panic, and quick submission. However, what they find is far from what they anticipated. As the dropships pierce through Earth's atmosphere, human military forces are already mobilized. The skies light up with anti-aircraft fire, and human aircraft quickly engage the invaders. The Varkthal, accustomed to overwhelming their enemies with advanced technology, find themselves in the midst of coordinated attacks and unexpected resistance. Instead of a swift victory, they encounter guerrilla tactics that seem almost primitive by their standards, yet disturbingly effective. Human forces strike from hidden positions, using terrain and cover to their advantage. Urban warfare unfolds in a way the Varkthal find bewildering. Every time they attempt to advance, they are met with well-timed ambushes, snipers, and explosive traps that slow their progress and inflict unexpected casualties. Their sophisticated weaponry is powerful but clumsy in these environments, unsuited for the type of hit-and-run tactics humans are employing. It's a style of combat that throws their logical, regimented approach into disarray. Within hours, what was supposed to be a quick operation becomes a series of chaotic skirmishes. The Varkthal, for the first time, experience failure on a scale they are unprepared for. They retreat, not because they lack the firepower to continue but because their strategy is faltering in the face of human unpredictability. Back on the mothership, the mood shifts from assured confidence to something closer to confusion and frustration. They did not expect such resilience from what they considered a lesser species. The initial reports speak of lost squads, equipment malfunctions, and human attacks that come from every direction. In their command center, the leaders convene again, a hint of disbelief now coloring their words. Commander Zalrath orders an immediate halt to all operations. They need to understand what went wrong. How could a species they considered so primitive have forced a retreat? There is an unspoken acknowledgement of failure, a quiet admission that perhaps they have underestimated their enemy. They cannot afford to lose face, not in front of their subordinates, not when their entire culture is built on the perception of superiority. A decision is made. They will study these humans more closely, capture them, and dissect their capabilities to find out what makes them so resistant. The directive spreads across their ranks. A new phase of the invasion begins, one of covert observation and targeted abductions. Elite squads are dispatched to various regions to capture human specimens. The Varkthal plan to gather intelligence, understand their enemy, and find the weaknesses they need to exploit. Yet, even as they prepare for this next step, there is an undercurrent of something they rarely feel: anxiety. They came expecting to conquer with ease, but now, they are left with the uncomfortable reality that they are dealing with a species far more complex and formidable than they had imagined. The game has changed, and they are no longer certain of the rules. The Varkthal begin their covert operations with a calculated precision, deploying specialized teams equipped with advanced cloaking devices. Their goal is simple: to capture humans from diverse regions, rural villages, bustling cities, remote outposts. The abductions are designed to be swift and silent, minimizing detection while gathering specimens for study. The Varkthal believe this approach will yield answers to their initial failure. They expect a quick success, confident their technology will make them invisible to Earth's primitive surveillance systems. At first, the operation seems straightforward. Their cloak teams infiltrate areas at night, selecting targets from various demographics: men, women, the young, the elderly, soldiers, civilians. Yet, as they move deeper into their campaign, things begin to go wrong. In urban areas, their attempts to snatch isolated humans are thwarted by unexpected resistance. Civilians, seemingly ordinary, fight back with surprising tenacity. An unarmed woman overpowers a Varkthal soldier with a fire extinguisher. An elderly man manages to sound an alarm, summoning a mob that forces the aliens into retreat. In rural regions, it becomes even more complicated. A small town in the Midwest becomes a flashpoint in their campaign. Here, the Varkthal launch a large-scale abduction effort, expecting an easy victory. Instead, they find themselves in a fierce battle. The local residents, sensing something strange, have prepared makeshift defenses, traps, improvised weapons, even old hunting rifles. The Varkthal are caught off guard. What they considered to be a simple mission turns into a chaotic engagement. Farmers use their knowledge of the land to their advantage, leading the invaders into natural traps, quicksand pits, dense forests, and narrow ravines. Even the children seem to have an uncanny ability to evade capture, using hiding spots that the aliens cannot detect. Back on the mothership, frustration mounts. The teams return with fewer specimens than expected and with several casualties, a concept alien to the Varkthal's cold, methodical approach. The scientists eagerly examine the humans they have managed to capture, expecting to uncover the secret to their resistance. But the more they study, the more confused they become. They analyze their physical structure, noting an unusual balance of strength and agility. Their brains, they find, are wired for rapid decision-making under stress. They observe humans' unique ability to adapt, improvise, and overcome challenges, a trait far beyond anything they have seen in other species. The scientists are puzzled by the diverse range of skills and instincts humans display, running for miles without tiring, enduring extreme weather, finding innovative solutions in seconds. As the days pass, the Varkthal begin to sense a creeping fear. They have always prided themselves on their logical superiority, but they are now dealing with a species that seems to defy simple categorization. Humans are not predictable. They are not behaving as prey should. The Varkthal's initial confidence starts to crumble. They were prepared for an enemy that could be overwhelmed by sheer force, not for one that could adapt and fight back with such effectiveness. Each human they capture offers a new puzzle, and each failed operation leaves more questions than answers. They intensify their efforts, deploying more surveillance drones and scanning devices, hoping to find a pattern, a weakness they can exploit. But in doing so, they make a critical mistake. The increased activity does not go unnoticed. Human intelligence networks, always on alert, begin to detect strange anomalies, unusual interference on radio frequencies, unexplained disturbances in the atmosphere. The Varkthal, in their desperation to understand, have inadvertently revealed their presence to their enemy. The humans begin to piece together what is happening. They recognize the pattern of the alien activities, the regions being targeted, and the tactics being used. Quickly, they adapt their strategies, sharing information across their networks, deploying countermeasures to confuse and mislead the aliens. The Varkthal are baffled. They find themselves walking into traps, their drones jammed or shot down, their teams increasingly ambushed by groups of humans who always seem to know just where they will strike next. As the Varkthal High Command reviews the latest reports, a sense of unease settles over them. They realize that they have severely underestimated their adversaries. These humans, far from being the simple prey they had expected, are proving to be more resourceful, more resilient, and more cunning than any species they have encountered before. Their plans, once precise and flawless, are now riddled with failures and unexpected setbacks. They thought they could study humanity like any other species, but instead, they find themselves entangled in a conflict that defies all their calculations. For the first time in their history, the Varkthal experienced doubt. They had come to conquer but now face an opponent that seems to grow stronger with every encounter. They had believed themselves to be the hunters, but they are starting to feel like the hunted. The realization dawns slowly, like a shadow creeping over their collective consciousness. They may not fully understand the danger they have unleashed. With the Varkthal's presence now detected, human forces waste no time in striking back. Military units coordinate with local militias, sharing intelligence and crafting strategies that play to their strengths. They understand that direct confrontation is not the answer against an enemy with superior technology. Instead, they employ guerrilla tactics, using the landscape to their advantage. Ambushes are set in dense forests, mountain passes, and urban environments where the Varkthal's advanced sensors and weapons prove less effective. Traps are laid out with precision, from crude but deadly pitfalls to more sophisticated electronic jamming devices that disrupt alien communications. The Varkthal find themselves mired in confusion. Their dropships, once swift and stealthy, are drawn into areas where they are immediately targeted by hidden anti-aircraft positions. On the ground, their soldiers are misled into ambushes. Each move they make is anticipated, countered by attacks from unexpected directions. Human forces use misdirection skillfully, creating chaos in the ranks of the Varkthal. The aliens' reliance on their superior technology becomes a liability. They are outmaneuvered in places where their sensors can't penetrate dense foliage or detect human fighters moving underground through old sewer systems and tunnels. The shift in tactics escalates further into psychological warfare. Humans, aware of the Varkthal's confidence in their superiority, begin to play on their fears. They leak false information, broadcasting distress signals and fabricated troop movements. The Varkthal, trusting their data, move to intercept what they believe are human forces, only to find empty fields or deserted towns. These decoy operations waste their resources and increase their frustration. Meanwhile, loudspeakers hidden in the forests and cities blast sounds that disorient and unsettle the aliens, screeching animal noises, human screams, and strange frequencies that disrupt their sensitive hearing. Visual illusions are also employed. At night, humans use light and shadow to create phantom forces that seem to appear and disappear without explanation. Holographic projections are used to simulate human soldiers where none exist, causing the Varkthal to waste ammunition and energy. The aliens, who pride themselves on their logical thinking, find their minds under assault by an enemy that refuses to follow predictable patterns. What was once a straightforward campaign has become a nightmare of endless false leads and traps. Within the Varkthal command, tension rises. Commanders who once spoke with arrogance now argue among themselves. Reports of ambushes and disappearing squads come in daily, and communications become garbled, plagued by inexplicable interference. Internal dissent grows, with some questioning the wisdom of continuing the invasion. Fear, a concept almost alien to their culture, begins to creep in. They attempt to assert control, doubling their efforts to hunt down the human resistance, but every move seems to bring more loss. The Varkthal commanders, once assured and methodical, are now plagued by doubt. Their desperation leads to mistakes. In their attempts to regain control, they send more ground forces, but these units fare no better. The humans are always one step ahead, using their intimate knowledge of their own terrain. Skirmishes turn into full-blown engagements, and the Varkthal are forced to retreat time and time again, their numbers dwindling. They lose contact with several of their teams, their leaders growing increasingly paranoid. A sense of chaos overtakes their ranks as they realize they are not fighting a disorganized mob, but a highly coordinated resistance. The turning point comes when human forces manage to capture several Varkthal soldiers during a botched raid. The captured aliens are brought to secure locations for interrogation. What the humans learn is invaluable. They decipher parts of the Varkthal language, understand their technology, and most importantly, gain insight into their rigid way of thinking. The Varkthal captives are bewildered. They did not expect humans to show mercy or treat them with anything but hostility. The humans, however, make it clear They are defenders, not conquerors. They are willing to show mercy, but they will fiercely protect their world. Back on the mothership, the Varkthal High Command is thrown into disarray. They receive reports of their soldiers being captured and interrogated, their knowledge and tactics dissected by the very species they sought to subjugate. The command begins to realize that their enemy understands them far more than they initially assumed. The knowledge that the humans have gained from their interrogations only further destabilizes their fragile morale. Their leaders, who once viewed Earth as an easy conquest, now face an uncomfortable reality. They are up against an enemy who knows how to fight on every front, physically. For the first time, the Varkthal experience true paranoia. They have underestimated these humans, and in doing so, they have exposed themselves to a threat far greater than they had imagined. Their attempts to control the situation only seem to deepen their predicament. The humans are not merely fighting back, they are adapting, learning, and turning every misstep of the Varkthal into an advantage. What began as a campaign of conquest is rapidly turning into a struggle for survival. The realization sets in, deep and unsettling, they are no longer the predators. The humans, with their relentless ingenuity and will to defend their world, have become the hunters. A small, elite human squad, led by a seasoned strategist, slips through the shadows, moving with precision and purpose. Their mission is clear: infiltrate a Varkthal base hidden deep within a remote area. The humans have spent weeks studying the base's patterns, exploiting the aliens' over-reliance on technology, and their predictability. The squad reaches the perimeter undetected, bypassing advanced sensors and automated defenses using techniques the Varkthal never anticipated. Old-school methods like camouflage, silent movement, and using the terrain to their advantage. Inside the base, the humans launch a surprise attack, moving quickly and silently through the corridors. They target key systems, planting improvised devices that disrupt the alien communication network. The Varkthal, accustomed to the security of their technology, are caught completely off guard. Alarms blare, lights flicker, and screens go dark as the humans methodically sabotage the command center. Within minutes, the base is plunged into chaos, and the Varkthal are left scrambling, unable to coordinate their defenses or call for reinforcements. Back on the mothership, the news of the infiltration spreads quickly, causing a ripple of shock and disbelief among the ranks. For the first time, the Varkthal are confronted with the stark reality of human adaptability and innovation. Reports flood in of alien weapons being repurposed and turned against them, of humans hacking into their systems with a level of skill they thought impossible for a primitive species. The Varkthal's confidence is shattered. They realize they are facing an enemy that is not only learning from them but evolving faster than they can comprehend. Panic sets in among the lower castes, who begin to question the competence of their leadership. On the bridge of the mothership, tensions reach a breaking point. Whispers of dissent grow louder. A mutiny brews as the lower castes, frustrated by the endless failures, start to challenge their superiors openly. They suggest a tactical retreat, arguing that the humans are too unpredictable and that the invasion has become a costly mistake. The Varkthal leader, once unshakable, is now a figure of paranoia and desperation. Faced with the prospect of a full-blown rebellion, he dismisses the suggestion of retreat and orders a full-scale counteroffensive, determined to crush the humans and salvage what remains of their dignity. But the humans have anticipated this response. They release carefully crafted false intelligence, making it appear as though their defenses are concentrated in a remote forest region, ripe for attack. Believing they have found a weak point, the Varkthal leader orders his forces to advance into the dense forest, convinced this is their chance to regain control. The alien forces descend into the thick woods, their movements hurried and chaotic, driven by the need to prove their strength. Yet, as they push deeper, the Varkthal quickly realize they have walked into a trap. The dense canopy disrupts their sensors, and the uneven terrain slows their vehicles. Out of nowhere, human forces emerge, striking from hidden positions. Ambushes are triggered, explosives are set off, and alien troops are picked off one by one. The Varkthal are caught in a pincer movement, surrounded and outmaneuvered at every turn. They try to regroup, but their communication systems are still crippled from the earlier sabotage. Commands are lost in transmission, units are left isolated and leaderless. As the battle unfolds, the Varkthal commander, overseeing the operation from a distance, watches in horror. His forces are being systematically dismantled. His plans, already fragile, fall apart completely. Reports of defeat and destruction flood in, each one more dire than the last. The realization sinks in: the humans have not only outsmarted them but have turned their own tactics against them. Every step they took was anticipated, every move countered with precision. The commander faces the grim reality of his mistakes. He thought he was dealing with a weak, backward species that could be easily subdued. Instead, he has provoked an enemy capable of learning at an alarming rate, of using every mistake the Varkthal make to their own advantage. His hubris has led them to this moment, a moment of defeat at the hands of those they deemed inferior. He knows that there is no turning back now. The Varkthal, once the hunters, have become the hunted. The balance of power has shifted irrevocably, and he is left with nothing but the bitter taste of failure. The Varkthal leader, realizing their defeat is imminent, is forced to confront the consequences of his arrogance and underestimation of humanity. The price of their miscalculation is now painfully clear, and there is no escaping the truth: they are no longer the masters of this conflict. They are out of options, and the humans, with their relentless ingenuity and determination, have proven themselves to be the true apex predators of this battle. The Varkthal retreat, broken and humiliated, carrying with them a newfound respect and fear for the species they sought to conquer. The battle reaches its peak as the humans close in on the Varkthal's remaining forces, dismantling them with a level of precision that defies the aliens' understanding. Human units move like a well-oiled machine, executing maneuvers that catch the Varkthal off guard at every turn. Despite their advanced weaponry and technology, the aliens find themselves outflanked, outmaneuvered, and overwhelmed. The humans strike with a blend of tactics that blend military strategy, guerrilla warfare, and an uncanny ability to predict their enemies' moves. It becomes clear that the Varkthal's reliance on technology and rigid tactics is their undoing against an enemy that adapts to every situation. The Varkthal commanders, from their vantage points, watch in disbelief as their forces are picked apart piece by piece. Their once mighty war machines, designed to conquer planets with ease, are rendered ineffective by a species they had dismissed as primitive. They see human soldiers coordinating with civilians, working as a unified force, displaying a level of resilience and determination they never expected. The Varkthal realize they are not facing a simple foe, but a species that embodies a relentless drive to survive and protect their own. The humans fight with a purpose that goes beyond strategy. They fight for their home, their families, their very existence. As the battle rages on, the Varkthal leadership begins to grasp the depth of their miscalculation. They had thought their technology would crush any resistance, but they now see that humanity's greatest weapon is its spirit. They witness humans doing whatever it takes to win, using ingenuity and a deep understanding of their world to turn every encounter to their advantage. Their adaptability seems limitless, their resolve unbreakable. The Varkthal, for all their strength and advanced tools, are simply no match for the raw, primal will of the humans. The realization hits the Varkthal leaders like a cold wave. They finally understand why humans have thrived in a world filled with threats. It is not just their physical capabilities or technological innovation, it is their unity, their courage in the face of overwhelming odds, and their refusal to ever give up. These are traits that the Varkthal, in their arrogance, never considered. They now see that humanity's strength lies not just in its capacity to fight but in its ability to learn, adapt, and persevere through any hardship. The aliens, faced with mounting casualties and the collapse of their invasion force, have no choice but to accept defeat. In a final act, the humans broadcast a message to the remaining Varkthal forces. The tone is firm and unyielding, but there is an undercurrent of restraint, of mercy. The message is clear: leave Earth and never return. The humans warn that any future attempts at invasion will be met with the same ferocity and ingenuity. Yet they offer a chance for the Varkthal to retreat, to avoid further bloodshed. It is a powerful statement, not just of victory, but of humanity's nature. The humans are capable of compassion, but they will defend their world with every ounce of strength they possess. The Varkthal have no choice but to comply. Broken and humbled, they order a full retreat, withdrawing their remaining ships from Earth's orbit. Their belief in their own superiority is shattered, replaced by a newfound fear and respect for the species they had underestimated. As they turn their ships back toward their home planet, they carry with them a new understanding of humanity, a race they once thought weak and insignificant, now seen as formidable and unpredictable. The Varkthal commanders know that they can never afford to face humans again, not without risking complete annihilation. The story closes with a reflection on what the Varkthal have learned about their adversaries. They leave Earth with the realization that humans are more than just apex predators. They are beings of complexity, capable of both great savagery and profound kindness. Their strength lies in their ability to adapt, to grow stronger with every challenge they face. The final message is clear: Earth is a world not to be taken lightly, and humanity is a force that will always rise to meet any threat. The Varkthal retreat, forever changed, knowing that they have learned a lesson they will not soon forget.